What's going on, everyone? Ryjack back here for another video, another live stream. Very excited today to talk about the Manchester Derby. Tomorrow morning for me, afternoon for you guys over in the UK. It'll be 11:30 for me. I will be doing a live watch along as always for the weekend games. So do come check it out and come watch with me. Also, thank you guys for the new subs. We are well past the 100 goal we had about a week ago. So we are now pushing towards 150 for the sub goal. Very cool. Thank you very much again for that. So comment on the video. Let me know what you guys think of the Derby. Who do you have winning? All that good stuff. So let's get into the game, of course. Wasting no time at all. Pull up the table here so we can see a little bit of the form and where things stand for each team. Jupe in the chat says 3-3 for the score. That would be a mental game. I'm hoping for a win, obviously, for City, but 3-3 would be rather intense. 3-3 from Tom as well. I don't know. Guys, I don't know about that. That is a bit mad. Anyway, City are sitting 5th in the table. We are coming off our 2-0 win against Leicester, 2-2 draw to Brighton, and the 1-0 loss to Forest. Whereas United all the way down in 13th position, coming off a loss 1-0 against Forest, a win against Leicester, who are terrible and can't beat anyone, and then a draw with Arsenal. So they sit on 37 points. All I'm saying is it's probably the worst Manchester United team I maybe have seen in my lifetime. They are really, really poor. They lack a lot of quality. But it's Derby. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? Anything is possible. All good, Tom. That's great. City, of course, not a great season. You guys all know it's been very rocky. It's been injury-riddled, and it's been heavy in the loss category. You see 9 losses here for Man City. Only 57 goals scored, which is pretty low for our standards, of course. So, anyway, if we look at the preview here and look at the teams and what, FOTMob is suggesting will be the lineup for City. They have Nunez in at right back. I'm not sure if I like that. I definitely would prefer probably Kusanov at right back. I think Diaz, Kusanov, and Vardiol. Maybe 3 of those is correct, I would say. But I hope no Nunez. Again, last Manchester Derby, Nunez cost us 2 goals. We lose 2-1. Pretty brutal game for him. So, who knows? It was a while ago. Do I think Pep is leaving at the end of the season? A lot of rumors. I don't personally think he's leaving. Not sure why he would sign the contract extension if he was going to leave. I mean, normally he always says, I have a contract and I'll see it out, and that's kind of how he operates. But I wouldn't rule it out. I'll say. Especially if we can, win the FA Cup, win the Club World Cup. Maybe he says, I'm done, but I don't personally see it. I think he wants to oversee the rebuild that's going on, because it is a big rebuild. We're going to spend a lot in the summer, and I think he would like to be here at least for a year or two of that. In the midfield, they have Nico, Bernardo, with Savinho, Grealish, and Doku on the wing, and Marmoush up top. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'll get into my lineup builder in just a moment. If we look at the Manchester United squad that's predicted, I mean, going very young, obviously, 20, 23, 22, 23. Bruno, of course, is the older one in Maguire, but 19. They got a lot of young players there, for sure. So, do I see players that scare me? That is my look at this, and I just don't. I see Bruno Fernandes. Yes, he's a very good player. He could score a free kick. He could score a banger from outside the box. He'll probably score a pen if he gets the opportunity. But elsewhere, I mean, not a lot of quality. If you do look at this, Højlund has 3 goals, Xerxes 3 goals, Garnacho 1 goal, 4 goals, 1 assist. There's not a lot of quality in other areas of the pitch for them aside from Bruno, who's going to be on double-digit goals and assists, like he probably normally is. It's not a lot of players that I'm afraid of, or that I think City, even the top half players, top half clubs would be afraid of. It's a bad squad. They have had some major issues in squad building, in my opinion. So I expect City to do well and be in contention for a win. As far as injuries go, we do see John Stones obviously out for probably the rest of the season. Same with the Kanji, same with Ake, same with Rodri, and even potentially Holland. They say mid-May, maybe. Will remains to be seen how bad that injury is. Tom says he thinks Forest is winning the FA Cup. They're hungry to win the trophy. I could see it. I hope it's not them, but that is who City have in the semis. So will be an interesting and hopefully a win for City. But yes, they are a very good team. They have beaten us just a couple weeks ago, so remains to be seen. A lot of injuries for United, apparently. Kobe Mainu, Ligt, Tom Heaton, Aiden Heaven, who's a youngster who's been pretty impressive, I think. Johnny Evans, Martinez out for the season. Luke Shaw always injured, and Amad Diallo out for the season as well. And this is the one that would give me a little bit of reservation. Diallo, very good player, obviously scored the 2 goals against us to beat us last time. But with him out, they don't have a lot of threat, to me at least. Maybe I'm undervaluing some of these players, but Højlund seems like a flop. Xerxes seems like a flop. Garnacho is all right. I'm not sure, Tom says City have seen UCL and league titles, so it's not as special for them. The only reason I slightly disagree is this is Kev's last season. Maybe they want to send him off with winning the FA Cup as sort of a, we're doing this for Kev. It's kind of galvanizing the group, and they all kind of play for him in the way to send him off nicely. And I hope that's the case. I do hope that's the case. But you are correct. For me, the priority is top 5. We have to think about the long-term future of the club, and getting Champions League football is better than winning the FA Cup for the club. So, as much as I would love a trophy, I would choose the Champions League qualification over it if I had to pick. I like both, but if I have to pick, that's what I'm doing. Now, let's switch over to the lineup builder here for me, see what I think personally and what you guys in the chat think as well. In goal, I don't think there's any debate at all. I'm going with Ederson. Yes, he may leave in the summer, and that's fine if he wants to go. But for me, while he's here, he's the best keeper City have ever had. We're keeping him. The back line is interesting because do we see Nico O'Reilly again? Do we see the return of Rico Lewis? Is Mateus Nunes going to get the right back spot? We rested Kusanov last game. Is he back in line for a start? And I do think Kusanov is playing. He rested with the purpose of probably being available for the derby. So I think, in my mind at least, you see Vardiol at left-sided center back. You pair him with Ruben Diaz, which over the last week or so has looked very good. Right back, I'm hopeful that we see an Abdikadir Kusanov appearance at right back, with that meaning Nico O'Reilly as the left back, another academy player who's been pretty impressive recently. What summer transfer do I want to see? Well, there's a lot. We would need a new right back. We need probably 2 goalkeepers. We need an attacking midfielder as well as another all-around midfielder. We probably need another winger. So if I had to pick one for each of those positions, if I'm going dream positions, I'm thinking Rodrigo for the wing. Would have loved Kvaratskhelia for PSG, but obviously that's not happening now. Midfielder, obviously Florian Wirtz is probably the dream. Pedri would be amazing, but I don't think Barcelona would ever sell him. Other midfielders, Bruno G, I would love. Lucas Paquetá, if the gambling charges go away, potentially I would like to see. Carlos Baleba from Brighton would be a fantastic signing. And as far as a fullback, I would think Andrea Cambiaso from Juventus is probably the fullback we go for, can play left, right, and in the midfield. So versatility, obviously valued by Pep. I think that's probably where their targets are, at least. Those type of players for those roles. Do we get all those players? Obviously, no. That would be 600 million spend, but I'd look at that group of players and say that's where we start our summer targets. For the 6th role, I'm going with Nico Gonzalez. I think he has severely improved our midfield, as well as just the general flow of how we play since coming in January. He's got the legs. He's somewhat athletic. He's got that kind of ping ball that Rodri has. Obviously not as good as Rodri, but is doing a good job filling in there in Rodri's absence. The other two, attacking 8s or 10, whatever you want to call them, you have a lot of options. I think Kev starts for sure just because of the announcement of this being his last derby. He's leaving in the summer. I think we're going to try to play Kev as much as we can, given fitness, assuming he's fit and everything. I think we'll see a lot of Kev over the last 2 months or so here. The other one is interesting. You have Gundogan, you have Kovacic, you have Bernardo. Jack Grealish could play in the 8, I guess. You have Foden, you could play. And it's a tough one because I don't think necessarily Bernardo deserves a start based on the form he has displayed this season. But I think Pep will probably play Bernardo there because he loves the guy so much. Would I do that? No. Would I do Gundogan? Possibly, but he has started 2 games in a row, so 3 in a row in a week, probably not wise for a 34-year-old. Kovacic is an option as well, and probably what I would do with this backline in mind, because Kusanov is not going to be getting forward very much. So, Kovacic and Nico can kind of stay back together, sort of like this, I would think. Something like that. Maybe Grealish in midfield from Lizzie. I did think about that as well. I'm not sure Pep would do De Bruyne and Grealish together in the midfield. Maybe they would, and it would be kind of like that, where you have Grealish would probably be over here on the left in that scenario. And then, maybe whoever's on the left, he kind of swaps occasionally with. I'm not sure. Lizzie says, I'd rather have Silva over Kovacic. Really, I think Bernardo has been pretty poor over the last year and a half. And I think while Kovacic doesn't really offer anything going forward, neither does Bernardo. At least Kovacic kind of is a ball carrier, can bring it from defense to attack. He's not going to score very much, but Bernardo doesn't really either. Bernardo is, backwards pass, sideways pass. And I understand Bernardo has the amazing work rate and top tier, I guess, effort all the time. But I don't know. Just for me, Bernardo's struggled, and I'm off the Bernardo train a bit. I think the striker obviously picks itself. You're going to go with Marmoush. There's no other player that's going to get through the middle with Haaland out. And the wingers are interesting because Grealish could play on the wing. You've got Oscar Bob, who's back and maybe fit. If he is fit and able to play 60 minutes, I'm starting him because I think he's our best winger. Maybe I'm just an Oscar Bob stan over here, but I think he's our best winger. I would play him, start him. Obviously, I don't think Pep is actually going to do that. He'll maybe come on for 20 minutes, something like that. So the options are Doku, Savinho, Grealish. I guess Bernardo could potentially play right wing as well. Yeah, I don't think Bob is probably ready at the moment to start a game as well. If he was, though, I'd beat it 100%. Putting him there. All Things Football, how are we doing? Welcome to the stream. We're just doing a little lineup creation here and discussing midfield and wingers. I'm not sure because I do want Foden as well to play. Do you want Foden the right wing? I know he's a little bit less, I guess, effective as a right winger versus a midfielder, but I don't think Foden and Kev all play together in the midfield. I think Savinho right wing, Grealish left wing. We can see how that looks. I do like the idea of Savinho playing. I think he offers more in general than Jeremy Doku does. He's better. He's probably not quite the finisher Doku is. Doku's got a nice shot on him and can finish, but Savinho, as far as passing ability, to me at least, and I think backed up by the stats, is a much better passer than Doku is. He's got, I think, 9 assists in the Prem, where Doku, we all know Doku struggles to find the guy in the box, whether that's entirely his fault or if it's more of, I don't know, lack of the correct runs, lack of players crashing the box, and he doesn't have enough options. I don't know. But I rate Savinho over Doku personally. Left wing, you could do Doku, you could do Jack Grealish. Let's see. Lizzie says Grealish left wing. Grealish was pretty good midweek against Leicester. So I think I agree with that. We could go with Jack Grealish here. I don't know how much of a future the guy has at the club. I'm sure you guys are aware that a lot of people say this is his last season, and maybe that's the case, but when he's fit this season, he's been effective, I think. I feel like he makes an impact. He doesn't score a lot, obviously. He's not a G&A guy, but he wins fouls. He maintains possession. It's just, he's a 100 million pound man. I'm not sure that he wins fouls is a very good trait for a 100 million pound man. Exactly. Yeah, I do expect Grealish to leave this summer as well. I think alone in this squad, there's probably 3 players, maybe 4 players here that could leave. You could see Grealish leave. De Bruyne is already confirmed leaving. I think Kovacic could leave, and Ederson, I think, probably will leave as well. There's a lot of rumors on that. Lizzie's confident Grealish will stay. I'm open to Grealish staying, but I do think it's tough. I do think a world-class winger is probably needed for the team. Is that going to be Marmoush and then Haaland takes over the 9 role? I guess it's possible, but I think if we want a world-class winger, the most logical winger to get rid of is Grealish. He's older than the rest of them. He's obviously on more wages than the rest of them. So I'm not sure exactly what the club will want to do, but if, let's say, Spurs or Villa want Grealish and they want to spend like 40 million, the club would probably do that, I would think. I can see those are the 2 clubs I just see that it makes sense. Spurs, and I see Aston Villa doing the homecoming. Pep has been linked to many wingers, most notably Rafinha, but I won't see that happening. Man, Rafinha would be great. He's a player that I don't think I rated properly when he was at Leeds, and maybe he's a little bit of a late bloomer, but that guy is crazy. He's had a Ballon d'Or type season at Barcelona. If they win the Champions League and maybe he's involved in a lot of goals leading up to that, and they win La Liga, he could win Ballon d'Or for sure. Outfield-wise, I think KDB, Kovacic, Walker, and Gundogan will leave. I agree with all of that. I think Kovacic will find an offer in Saudi and go get a bag there. KDB obviously has announced he's leaving. Walker is already on loan. He is leaving. And Gundogan, I think, also will leave. There are some Bernardo Silva rumors. There's a rumor this morning, that Real Madrid want Bernardo Silva. I could see that happening. He's not going to be very expensive, obviously. He's got a year left on the contract after this season. And maybe he's wants a new experience, wants a new challenge. And he's been linked every year, basically for the last 3 years, that he potentially wants to leave. So I could see Bernardo as well leaving. And then if you think about defenders, you have the 3 players who are injured all the time. You have John Stones, you have Nathan Ake, and Manu Akanji. So maybe one of those players leaves. Maybe one of those 3 center backs leaves, and depending on how confident we are in Victor Hayes, maybe we sign a center back, even that potentially. What left winger is available? Nico Williams looks like he's destined for Barca. Leao will be tough to get. We ain't getting Rafinha. Who else is there? It's a good question. What left winger is available? I would play Rodrigo left wing, right wing, through the middle. If we could get Rodrigo, I'm not sure that is a gettable player, but that's the level of winger I think we should go for, Rodrigo. And I know it's probably 100 million pound man, but maybe even more. He'd be one that I would say is potentially someone they would look at. They may also, let me think here. Bernardo has publicly stated he wants to stay with us until his contract runs out. Well, he wants to do that and go to Benfica. Yes, that's correct. But he's also mentioned he wants to go to Portugal, the Ibiza, Portugal and Spain. So if Madrid are interested, I think he would consider. If Barcelona were interested, I do think he would consider, even though he has a year left on the contract. Other wingers is a good question. I'm not sure who else would be potentially available. Lizzie says he loves it at Madrid, and I don't think Madrid will let him go. I don't necessarily either think he should be available. He would be available, or they'd want to sell him. He's just the level of player that I think we should look at. I said earlier I would have loved Kvaratskhelia, the guy that went to PSG. I think he is very impressive, very good player. He would be one I'd be open to. There's also Leroy Sané. He's on a free in the summer. He could potentially be available. Would he come back to City? I think he probably would. I don't know if City would do that, but he's a winger. Wouldn't cost anything except for the sign-on bonus or whatever he gets. Alex Baena is another one who's a winger / midfielder, can play on the left, can play through the middle, or like a 10 role. Maybe he's someone the club consider as well. I'm not sure. Kvaratskhelia was the one, but Napoli hate us. Yeah, we had no chance, unfortunately, when he was at Napoli. Maybe eventually in like 4 years, if he's done with PSG, then potentially we could get him. But again, PSG and City obviously not super friendly with each other. I would take Sané back too, and it's probably a hot take. I'm not sure everyone after the Gundogan return hasn't worked out, if they'd worry about the same thing as Sané coming back, but I'd take him back. I'd take him back for sure. Baena is a lot more of a 10 than a winger. I agree. We probably want him to be more of a 10, but we do have Marmoush, who will probably play a lot of a winger role next season, if that's what it comes to. Let's see here. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, I should say I have a prediction for tomorrow. One with a 2-1 close win for City. I don't expect us to get a clean sheet because we got a clean sheet on Wednesday against Leicester. Although Leicester are one of the worst teams I've ever watched play football, I don't know if we can get back-to-back clean sheets. I'm not sure if we're at that level at the moment. So I'm going 2-1. I think Marmoush scores, and I think Oscar Bob comes on in the second half late, scores another one. Hopefully the winner. KDB getting winner would be kind of nice and romantic, would be great. Have I seen the bogus William Saliba links? Yes, I did see the William Saliba link to City, that they want to beat out Madrid for him. Of course, Arsenal would never in a million years sell us Saliba, but I almost did a TikTok on it just to talk about it, but then I thought, hey, this is bogus. I'm not gonna do that just for like people to yell at me and say this will never happen. Lizzie says 2-0 Marmoush Grealish goals. I would take that, obviously. If Grealish can kind of get some starting minutes here over the next month and a half, and maybe we get to the Club World Cup, we want to keep him for that, and he plays well, maybe we reconsider and just keep him, roll with Grealish for another season or so. But as of now, the trajectory for Grealish, I see, unfortunately, selling, and he's out the door in the summer. And I do think it's sad because I really like Grealish. I really, really like Grealish, of course, but hasn't quite worked out. I should check the reliability of some transfer links. Some are lies to get clicks. Yeah, that's true. Some of them are lies. And I do, in general, try to, when I make my transfer news TikToks and shorts, I try to keep it as reliable information as possible. Like there was one from earlier today or last night, AC Milan want Pep. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But I mean, if you're AC Milan, wouldn't you want Pep? I mean, he's not going to say yes, but of course they probably do want him. So I included that in my short and TikTok that I did today that I posted maybe an hour ago or so. We need a clean sheet, honestly. Chelsea are playing Leicester, and Newcastle have an easy team, need 3 points. 3 points is very, very key. I mean, I'll pull back up the table for you guys so we can look at it here. Obviously, the table is extremely, extremely close. This top 5, top 6 race, I mean, all the way to 7th is neck and neck. 7th to 3rd is 7 points, which is mental. And Newcastle have 2 games in hand on 3rd. So, to me, getting top 5 probably requires 65 points, maybe 64, 63, somewhere in that range. So we have 8 games left. That's 5 wins, I would think. And that's doable probably with the matches we have. 5 wins would put us on 66 points. I think 5 out of 8 wins locks us in for Champions League for next season. 5 wins could come from, let's say we win tomorrow. Everton's tough. Wolves, Southampton. Is that it? Is that the last game? Fulham. I mean, it's tough, but there's 5 winnable games there. You mean Fulham or Bournemouth, maybe. We win. Palace. Villa will be a tough one, obviously. We have the easiest run of games. I do think we have it easier. I mean, there's no top half teams aside from Villa really left for us. So 5 out of 8 is certainly doable. I mean, Bournemouth will be tough, of course. So to Newcastle, let's look at Newcastle's run here. Fixtures for Newcastle. Leicester, obviously an easy one. Probably an easy one. Probably another win. That'll be tough. Newcastle Villa, at least they play them. But again, we play them as well. Could be a draw for us. Probably a win. That'll be tough-ish. Newcastle playing Chelsea is very good. Obviously, that someone's dropping points there. Maybe even both. If we can get a draw, that'd be good. And then who else do they finish with? They have Arsenal. It's a tough one. Everton will be tough end of the season-ish. So, I mean, Newcastle's run is probably a little more difficult than ours. And that's mainly who we're competing with, them and Chelsea. I think Forest are probably locked in, I would say, for Champions League at this point. 57 points with 7 games left. I mean, I guess they could bottle it, but I mean, they're probably locked in. We can beat Villa at home. Newcastle, Villa, Chelsea games are massive. I agree, Lizzie. I definitely agree. Let's see who Chelsea play. Chelsea have really tough ones. Let's see who they've got. Brentford is a tough one. It's at Brentford as well. They got Conference League to deal with as well, so that's also something to consider. Ipswich is an easy one. Fulham away could be tough. Everton's a tricky team. Liverpool, they'll probably at least draw that, you would think, unless Liverpool are just playing their B team because they've won it already. That one's huge. United will give them a game. Forest is a difficult place to go to end it as well. Yeah, I think of those 3 teams, we certainly have the easiest run in. But, I mean, you never know. You never know, guys. I'm desperate to get Champions League. For sure, that's the most important thing because the Champions League money allows us to buy players like Florian Wirtz in the summer, and that's what's big for the club. While it would be amazing and awesome to lift the FA Cup, that's just a singular moment. whereas Champions League is, you know, winning that competition is one of the greatest nights of my life, watching City win the Champions League. So for me, that's more valuable than the FA Cup, even though I love winning the FA Cup and I love the trophy, and I would love to see Kev put it on his head and ride off into the sunset as an FA Cup champion. We're the most out of form team of the three. That may be so, but I have liked at least the last couple games we've played since coming back from international break. I have liked seeing how City played personally. I like how Marmouche is up front, changes the team up a bit versus the way we play with Holland in there. And I'm not of the camp or anything that we are better without Holland, because we're not. I think that's a silly take, but I'm happy that Marmouche can do different things, and it sort of creates a different game for us to watch and everything. So anyway, we're kicking at the 30-minute or so mark, so that's my preview. I will be live tomorrow for the game, as always, for the weekend games, doing the watch along. So do come by, come hang out, chop it up with me. Sub if you guys are new, like the video as well as always. Check out my TikTok and the shorts I post on there as well. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for the engagement, the interaction. This was fun. And City are winning tomorrow. We're beating United in the derby. Huge game tomorrow.